Dumelang ko gae. Re a le amogela gape mo lenaneong la rona le Rise. Tonight we are speaking about the most valuable asset we have, our body. We take our bodies wherever we go. It's the only constant. Fela bontsi ba rona ga re itse gore go diragalang ka mebele ya rona. Dumelang bomma.
Hello, hello.
A lo siame ka jeno? So, when was the first time you were aware of mmele wa gago and what it's capable of? You know, when you just, that moment ya narcissa sa ga ipona mo siponeng, wena ka mogare ga o ipona ka mmele, what happened? How old were you and what was happening?
Well, for me, it was in primary school. I think we all became aware at around about the same time, where we just all like looking between the boys and the girls like, Mare,
you looked at the boys?
It was just everyone, let's see under there what's going on.
Yes.
So that was the first time I was like, okay, difference, and it's not just the hair difference.
How okay.
Ah, man, I'm sure I was like 6 years old or something. Yeah, that's when we started checking.
Okay.
I'm around about that time. Masladis. I mean, I discovered Wuti, Ntombazana, umfazi, I'm a female, Masladisa, because we're like, when unamabele so uzoba umama, when uzoba baba. So there was that difference. It's okay, man. Okay, oh, umfana uzoba baba, oh, Ntombazana uzoba umama. So that's when I became aware.
I think Mbali has a point about, you know, haridlalisa. You know, you sort of discover. But interesting about that is you discover the roles assigned to the gender rather than, you know, your physical, you know, your body is your body. You sort of take it for granted, you know, but the roles assigned to being female and being male as you grow up, particularly Halidlalisa, you then understand, oh, okay, so this is what boys are supposed to do, and this is what girls are supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, stories like but then I have an older brother, so for me, as far as even though he's a whole 5 years older than me, right? So what used to, when I became aware was when my mother say like, yeah, but he's older than you, or who sort of to put me in my place. So like, first of all, ustompinyana sa motho fela, and uyange, and mutoki musimane, and so then you become aware of like, so ki difference ya rona, parlogano mo pele ga rona le bona. And then what about the first time o krea menstruation ya gago?
Okay, so with me, I was in the bathroom and it's like blood. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second, what's going on? Am I dying? And then I remembered, because luckily at school, I was a late bloomer. So at school, they had already taught us a bit about periods. And then I'm like, oh no, it's my little friend, right? And then I remember my grandma just saying, you know what to do, just go do it. You know, go fetch your mother's pants. Like, imagine, no, she heard, but she was very freaked out about it. You know?
Now my story is different. I was excited. I have always had older friends, so I knew what it was, and I looked up to them. So I wanted to be like them. So when I had my parents, I was like, finally.
How old were you, man?
I was 13. I was in grade 7. So I called my mom, like, Mama, it's funny, because every time the first person I call was her. Mama, there's blood in, and she's like, So when it finally happened, I saw it was drops though. It wasn't anything major. So I was like, oh, it's happening, Mom. And she told me, it's okay. Imagine that I'm so cool. So if I know don't freak out the boys then my baby
You know, na le rona ko skolong, some people the products that sanitary towels had come and I think I had won the biggest hamper, you know, but I had not had a period then. I'm sure I must have been 10 or 11 when they came and, you know, put all the girls in the hall for this talk. The awkward thing was when I then started my period, I think 2 or 3 years later, I was told to go to my grandmother, you know, and that was the most awkward talk, you know, of all, you know, and it included things like, you know, and all of that, you know, and it was weird in a sense that she was awkward, I was awkward. It had nothing to do with menstruation. It had everything to do with not playing with boys. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's amazing how automatic that becomes.
Exactly.
I'm amazed. So you guys were all of 13, 14. I was 10.
Yo,
Can you imagine the trauma? So you're 10, you get your period, and your breasts kind of start developing. And it was uncomfortable. I hated it. With Siro, I had felt all these pains like on my back and in the front. And then in the morning, I got my period. And I'm just like, Mom, king so say, you know? And she's like, oh, how Eliana.
And the thing is, with puberty, the whole thing, unida khonale hygiene, because also you start growing hair under your armpits, sansu shave, you move to antiperspirant roll-on. Marikabatko, you sort of, what other options are there? Like it I can afford a roll-on. Nkaberekisang kamutlas.
Ukilo utlwaka by carbonate of soda. It's your best friend. First of all, you can put some in your kamumitsi out kaona. And then as an underarm helper, we mix akamitsi. And then what's else? But some people just cannot afford. So uskono mari because that's your natural smell. Actually, that is actually what's natural about it. So yeah, that's what happens there. But what I do not like about menstruation, and as we know our bodies, is that it's considered something quite bad or negative to be spoken about in secret and to make you feel bad about yourself. So I have a question about, as you're discovering yourself and your menstruation, did you guys ever look at your vaginas?
I didn't. I didn't. Like, I only started looking at myself when I started growing, and I wanted to know some stuff about myself and my vagina. So back then it was like, it's happening, and that's all. But looking at myself, I didn't.
Okay, you?
I started quite early. I'm like, what is this thing? Okay, now it's growing hair. Okay, yeah. So I discovered it a bit, and then the discovering grew and it became more pleasurable. Oh, did I discover this vagina? So yeah, it started
like,
off with a look, and then it was yeah.
No, I look at it, you know. It has occupation on my body without rent, so I better look at what is this thing that's on my body. But we are not encouraged, you know, to do that.
No, yes, but actually, it's important to we'll be right back after this.
Reale amogela gape. Mbali le Khanyi ba dutse le Palesa Mokwa le Kayla Peterse, two young women ba ba tswang ko Rock Rise Young Women's Club. Le mme Daphne Nozizwe Chongo, a women's health specialist who is here to give us insight on what many young women are too shy to ask. Over to you guys.
Thank you, Levu. Sanamuyela, Mam Daphne, Kayla, and Palesa. Before Stalukoka, our team went to visit your team in Bloemfontein, right?
The question that I'm going to ask is about knowing your body. When you first got your period, did you understand what was happening?
No, I was so scared. Make it so really. And I say,
I woke up and I saw blood on my pant. I was like, my grandmother is going to shout at me. I was really scared to tell my mother because I thought that she would thought that I was like with boys. The next question is gonna be, at what age or stage did you become sexual aware physically? It was young. Yeah. I get the movie gekeken. From Justin to Kelly.
I was 14 years old, yeah, because that was the first time when I got a real kiss from a boy, and I was like, yo, that's my boyfriend.
I was 15 years. I was so, wow. You're
so excited, but when the guy is there, you're like, you don't know what to say.
I just feel that feeling.
When something you don't understand happens in your body, what do you do and who do you speak to? At school, I would talk maybe to my registered teacher because she's kind to me. Sometimes she could take me to the clinic also. when I told her there's no one at home.
Nna ke bua le moaka ke mmolela for mama tsala tjena ba mpela for ngwana ka staging ene o tlamehile tse tjena so that's why ke mo rata because of ke tsa ntho le yo on to second ntho le
my ma as is so oop soos met chomie saam met sal besig. Sy sal daai iets verstek like you don't need to worry. It's fine.
I think parents should actually speak to us, to teens, to their children about all the talk and sex and stuff, because we end up going outside and doing most negative things.
So Kayla, Alyssa, how was it speaking about your body or having that opportunity to speak about your body?
Well, for me, it was awkward because, I mean, how I say hangata when we get to talk about those stuff. I mean, luckily more we don't like get into details about our bodies. We like, okay, if you have a menstruation, then you have to buy a pad and that's it. We're not like we are about the like your vagina has to be clean and all that. We don't get into no, we get into details. We don't give that more information to each other.
So we are fair. Like Kayla, how was it?
For me, it was like the best moment ever because it was the first time that we shared some personal information with each other, and which I basically thought that was my problem alone.
So, ungasho ukuthi yini ebalekile ukuthi sazi imizimba yethu as young women?
Number one, umzimba it's a natural, resource onayo nje. And unfortunately, with society too, and see attach negative, comments around our bodies. And mangabunga was umzimba wako, noma ngabe kwenzekani, uzomangala uzothuka, you'll be frightened ukuthi ube nama fears are unnecessary. Yamuzwa ukuthi she was happy to hear ukuthi nabanye and they are experiencing the same. We need to talk more about our bodies in a way, in a pure way, enga attach any negative, values around it.
Do you guys have any questions you'd like to ask Ma'am Daphne?
Well, I know when I'm at school, there's this awkward feeling that I have this indigestion in me. So I want to know which food to avoid because I know I eat a lot. I want to know which food to avoid when I am going through such an indigestion, my stomach ache, what to avoid and what to eat. Can you just elaborate on that for me?
You just need to learn to listen to your body. Because indigestion will come with eating maybe at a wrong time. Eating amounts, because sometimes we wait for too long, and then when you ingest something, you are already too hungry and you're eating a lot.
Yeah.
And then your body fails to, to embrace what you're eating because it's a lot after a long time.
Okay. Yeah. Kayla, do you have a question, babe?
My question is very simple. What do you do to avoid getting period pains?
Oh my.
We all have that question actually. How do we get rid of them?
From it.
Yeah.
Remember, the whole month, the body has been building this layer, and when it immediately has to come out of your uterus, it's the bleeding, is that endometrius, that layer that was building up. Because every month our body prepares to embrace a fertilized egg and then become pregnant. Every month the body is ready to get pregnant. And then when that doesn't happen, then that endometrius, it has to come out. Then it starts afresh every month, that cycle. So some bodies, when that happens, the uterus gets, start because it's contracting.
So it's just squeezing
things out. So for some people, it can be painful. So you can just take pain relief tablets.
And I think
whatever
also
is there. You don't have sometimes.
Bottle helps.
Yes, some comfort things. Put a hot water bottle, and then talk to your mother. She would know. You need somebody just to take care of you sometimes. You just need somebody to say that, sorry, is that, somebody to do that hot water bottle for you. Make friends. It's that time of the month, and only women can do that. young as you are, start doing it for your friend, and then just make sure that you always have those pain tablets, and you'll know the ones that work for you.
Yeah.
You know,
And
it doesn't have to be very strong. You know, you start with the simplest and the most mild Panados, you know, and sometimes they work first time, second time, third time, they don't. They're not effective. Take something else.
So, are we getting sanitary pads or sanitary towels? How so when you can't afford them? What do you do? What are alternatives? You know, because most people, not everyone can afford sanitary pads, and as a result, when they're on their period, they stay at home. So, alternatives, how else can we work with them?
There used to be cloths that parents on the olden days that they sew them. They just make a small pad, a small anyana pad, cloth that you put in, and then it absorbs your bleeding. And then at the end of the day, you put it in cold water, by the way, before you add soap.
Why cold water?
Because if you add hot water, it stains.
Okay.
You see? And then if you add soap first, it stains. So start by rinsing with pure cold water. Then it rinses properly. Then you can wash it properly afterwards once the blood is rinsed off. And then you dry it, and then you must have a few of them. You know, then it then becomes difficult if you're a heavy bleeder, because some people can bleed very heavily. Yeah.
Sabonga, Mam Daphne. Kayla and Palisa, you're great. Thank you so much. We'll be right back after this break. Ninga Indao.
Welcome back to the show. As you can see, we are still joined on the show by Dr. Kongo. Stephanie is also known as Dr. Kongo, doctor of PhD, not Olewa Ngaka Wakotlatloba, by the way, just to differentiate. So, Sis Stephanie, we've got a lot of questions that we want to ask you, and it's just debunk some of these myths, and please set us on the right path. For women my age, we're very concerned about things like breast cancer. So what is the proper way to actually, for one, to be checking our breastises?
It's easier if you divide your breast into 4 parts.
Okay.
And then move from the center, and then take each piece.
Yeah, can we?
Okay. During the bath, you know, while you're taking a shower or something, so that you can just identify things that are not normal. So if you take that quarter and a quarter and a quarter and a quarter, so the minute there's a little lump, you will be able to tell, because it's not been long ago that it was not there. Yes.
So we have to start early so that by the time there is something, you know what you're looking out for.
Just as part of your routine.
Okay, super. Okay.
And how often must we go for our checkups, like the dentist, our gynecologists?
They are recommended at least once a year, or let's take the cervical cancer, check. Because that's one of the most common, cancer in South Africa. And what is important about it is it can be prevented. It's preventable. Some people do it yearly. Until the doctor feels you are at risk and say, do it every year, then you can do it every year. It's a pap smear. It's a very simple procedure, and then you check. So while they're doing that procedure, then you can just ask them to do your breast check as a professional, because it's different when somebody else is doing it for you.
You look at overall health, and things we do in our daily life. So, for example, I know you have to sleep in order to rest, but what is enough sleep? That's what I'm trying to ask.
And I'm very particularly interested in this because I'm such an insomniac. It drives me nuts.
There has been too many theories around sleep.
Yeah.
But you are not getting enough sleep. Remember, I'm encouraging people to understand their bodies and their needs. Sometimes, even if you are not fast asleep, just that relaxation allows you for your body to regain energy, kind of. So people talk about 8 hours, about 6 hours, between 6 and 8 hours. It looks like that's where it's acceptable. But everybody's encouraged. I know young people, they can go 24 hours.
Yo,
24 hours sleeping, but also they can go 24 hours without sleep.
And be okay. That's when you realize you're my age, by the way. The recovery period is not the same.
Now the body tells you that, no, not anymore.
Let's talk, Sis Daphne, about some lifestyle things. You know, nowadays the alcohol industry is targeting young people, particularly young women. And before it used to be smoking, you know, again, particularly young women, you know, it's sort of glamorized. What are the effects on bodies does alcohol and smoking have? And what practical advice can you give to young people?
You know, I don't know how we can pass the message to young people that we are being a target of a market that's just out there to gain and make profit out of you. There's nothing to gain from smoking except looking cool for that moment.
For that moment.
And I'm telling you, and once you get into the habit, because it's addictive, and it's one of the addictions that are very difficult to get rid of in your body. So you're stuck with this lifestyle for the rest of your life that you don't need. And it's, of course, it's poison to your body. It may be just a little bit, you won't feel the effects because you're still young, your body is still recovering, but you've taken an addiction to your body that's gonna stuck with you. I'll keep repeating, our bodies are not the same. If your friend takes one side and she's off, you know, the other one is taking, you know, so we are different, but also know your body, but know when to cut it off because of also the behaviors once we've taken the alcohol beverages.
And of course, having to remember hore metsi bathong a ke re nweng metsi because it's very important. Is ka ra o tshwere ke lenyora e bonwa something fizzy e tletseng ka sukiri. I ke re Sis Steph. Indeed. Thank you so much for joining us, to you and my lovely co-host. That's all we have time for tonight. Thank you for joining us, and remember that you only get one body, so look after it, listen to it. Gape o nele seo se tlhokang. Don't forget to share your thoughts with us on Mix It Reach, Twitter and Facebook. Go fitla ka nako e latelang. Salang sentle. Woof, woof.